Okay, I have 6 o'clock, so I'll call the meeting of the Olive Branch Planning Commission to order, and we'll start off with the roll call.
Mr. Dorr,
Here.
Mr. Jones,
Here.
Ms. Lewis,
Here.
Ms. Remack,
Present.
Ms. Sanger, Mr. Singh,
Here.
Mr. Stratton.
Here.
Okay. You've received in your packets the minutes of the April 9th, 2024 meeting. Are there any corrections or additions that need to be made to the minutes? If not, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Ms. Singer. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second by Mr. Jones. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then the motion carries and minutes have been approved. We have 4 items on the consent agenda tonight, and these are usually items that are considered routine and non-controversial in nature that do not warrant a full staff presentation and board discussion. Items number 2, this is to be request to table indefinitely. Item 3 is a request to table until June the 11th meeting, and item 4 is request to table the June 11, 2024 meeting. I will read all 4 of the consent agenda items into the minutes, and if there is anyone here that wishes to have a full staff presentation, we will do so. The first one is an application for a final plat for the City of Olive Branch Center Hill Fire Department subdivision submitted by Robbie Jones, Jones Davis and Associates Inc. on behalf of the City of Olive Branch property owner. The request is to create a single lot of 2 plus or minus acres for the city's newest fire station. The subject property is zoned PUD Plan Unit Development District and is located on the west side of Center Hill Road between Highway 302 and DeSoto Road. The second item is an application for a first revision for lots 1 through 3 Minor Lake addition to Maywood subdivision submitted by Lenore property owner. The request is to combine 3 lots and absorb unplatted property to create a single lot of 4.73 plus or minus acres. The subject property is on R2 Single Family Residential District and is on the east side of Shakoka Drive East and north of Woodson Drive, known as 7605 Shakoka Drive East. And once again, the applicant requests to table indefinitely. The third consent item is an application for a final plat for villages at South Branch, Phase 1B, submitted by Henry Porter, W.H. Porter Consultants, PLCC, on behalf of Michelle Thurhune, South Branch Development, LLC property owner. The request is to create 47 single-family residential lots and 3 COS from 26.456 plus or minus acres. The subject property is on R3 Plan Residential District and is located on the east side of Pleasant Hill Road North between Stonecrest and Bram Drive, and the applicant requests to table to June 11, 2024. And number 4 is application for final plat for villages at South Branch Phase 1C submitted by Henry Porter, W.H. Porter Consultants, PLC on behalf of Michael Terhune, South Branch Subdevelopment, LLC property owner. The request is to create 5 single-family residential lots from 1.094 plus or minus acres. The subject property is on R3 Plan Residential District and is located on the east side of Pleasant Hill Road North between Stonecrest Drive and Bram Drive, and the applicant requests to table to June 11, 2024 meeting. Does anyone, commissioners, anyone here wish to have a full presentation on any of the consent items? If not, then we'll vote on all 4 at one time, and with the understanding that items number 2, items number 3, and items number 4 will be tabled with that approval. So I need a motion to approve all of the consent.
Motion.
We have a motion by Ms. Remack. Do we have a second?
Second.
Let's see. We have a second by Ms. Singer. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then the consent items have been approved. Our first business tonight is under old business. It's an application for a final plat for Old River Farm subdivision, Phase 1, submitted by Nick Croonan, Civil Inc., on behalf of Mark Matthews, John Mark LLC property owner. The request is to divide 29.70 plus or minus acres into 34 residential lots and 2 common open spaces. The subject property is zoned R3 Planned Residential District and is located on the north side of College Road, just west of Highway 305. And I have the staff presentation.
Thank you. Here's an aerial view of the subject property right here. We have College Road to the south and Highway 305 to the east. And this is the Old River Farm subdivision, and it is, we'll go and look at the plat in a second, but basically just from this aerial view, Phase 1 is a kind of this left western portion here, which is what we are dealing with tonight. And then Phase 2 is the portion to the east here, which will be at a later date. Just so that we have it for the presentation, this is what the final plat was submitted as. You have a road that connects all the lots here, and there's 2 common open spaces here, and you'll see that in a second as well. Some background for the subject property. The preliminary plat for Old River Farm for both phases 1 and 2 was approved by the Board of Aldermen in October of 2022. There was a Phase 1 final plat application that was tabled at the May 9th Planning Commission meeting. There were some things that needed to be worked out from an engineering standpoint, so that it was not ready for final plat approval. And since then, a majority of those variables have been developed and are now ready for final plat approval. Here's some criteria or analysis that we have for the final plat. The first one are the zoning and lots. In the PD, the project text for Old River Farm, the lots in Phase 1 are known as estate lots, and there's 34 of them. They're all single family, and they have, within the subdivision as well, there are 2 common open spaces. One of the approval conditions for the preliminary plat that was approved by the Board of Aldermen was stated that a draft declaration of covenants and restrictions for the homeowners association would be submitted to staff for review with the final plat, and the applicant has provided a draft of those documents as well as an associated HOA incorporation document with their final plat submittal. In terms of transportation, the subdivision will have access from College Road and Highway 305. That entrance is under construction and will be completed in Phase 2. The design of the subdivision's Highway 305 entrance was included in the construction plans for Phase 1 as per condition number 6 of the Board of Aldermen's preliminary plat approval. And MDOT approval or Mississippi Department of Transportation was needed for that entrance, and they have gotten that approval from them as well. Concurrently, the Highway 305 entrance, like I stated, is under construction. However, if a letter of credit would be needed if the entrance is not completed before the time of recording the final plat for Phase 1. Additionally, the subdivision has 5-foot wide sidewalks that are provided along each of the proposed lots. In terms of utilities, all necessary utilities that for the Phase 1 have been installed, and a letter of credit is needed for items listed in the included city engineer's memo that you have in your staff reports, and that letter of credit would be needed at the time of recording for the final plat for Phase 1. In terms of any variances or deviations, staff did not find that any were necessary, and the applicant did not request any, and that it goes for waivers as well. The next steps would be, if recommended for approval by the Planning Commission, the plat would be forwarded to the Board of Aldermen for their decision, and then once approved, the applicant may record the plat based on the following conditions. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the final plat for Phase 1 based on the following conditions. And just wanted to point out condition number 1 that says a letter of credit of sufficient amount shall be provided to the city engineer before the final plat is recorded if the subdivision entrance on Highway 305, that where my cursor is, and the improvements outlined associated in the city engineer's memo are not completed by the time of recordation. That concludes my staff presentation.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? If there are no questions, is there someone here to represent the application?
Nicholas Croonin, address 3629 College Road, South Haven, Mississippi. Have nothing else to add unless y'all have questions.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? No questions then. Thank you, Nick.
Thank y'all.
All right. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak in favor or against this application? If not, then our public discussion is closed, and I will now entertain any motions or discussions from the commissioners.
I make a motion to approve the application, subject to the following 6 conditions.
We have a motion by Ms. Remack to approve the final plat of Phase 1 of the Old River Farm subdivision, subject to the staff conditions. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Stratton. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then the motion carries and the application is approved. Thank you so much. Now we move on to new business. We have an application for a zoning map amendment submitted by Chance Walker and Ben Smith, IPD LLC, on behalf of Kelly Greenwood, AK 47 LLC, property owner. The request is to rezone the current Lot 1 of the Greenwood Place commercial subdivision of 2.71 plus or minus acres from C1 neighborhood commercial subject to M1 light industrial district to allow climate-controlled storage. This property is located on the east side of Highway 305, just south of Church Road, known as 4900 Highway 305. And we're going to have the staff presentation.
Thank you. Here we have an aerial view of the property. This is the current subdivision that we have here, with Lot 1 being the subject property for this rezoning. We have Lot 3 underneath, which is also zoned, is currently zoned C1 neighborhood commercial, and Lot 2 is zoned M1 light residential. And basically what you have here is a depiction of what this application is requesting. Like I said, we have Lot 1 here that is zone C1, and the request is to zone it to M1 that you see on this map here as well. So that's basically what this application is. Based on the background that we see here, the property in question was annexed in 1996 and known as Lot 1 of the first revision of the Greenwood Place commercial subdivision. There isn't a separate plat application, plat revision, I should say, that has also been submitted to combine lots 1 and 2 into a single lot for storage warehousing, which, if I can go back to my other slide, would basically be combining Lot 1 with Lot 2, so this whole entire area in blue here would be Lot 1, but that's in a separate subdivision application that's not dealing with the current application. Let me see. The purpose of the rezoning request is an indoor-outdoor storage facility known as Spacebox Storage on the revised Lot 1 of the Greenwood Place subdivision, and that would include a 25-foot high, 1-story, around 60,000 square feet, climate-controlled indoor storage building, in addition to outdoor storage for RVs and boats. Let me look. I just wanted to also say, please take note that the commission is not approving the use of a storage facility per se. This application is strictly for the zoning, which if the property was rezoned and the storage facility did not get built, All other permitted uses in the M1 district could be established by right on the property. And some of these uses could include the compounding of cosmetics, aluminum can processing, and the manufacturing of tools and bolts. And some conditional uses would include vehicle impound lots, motor vehicle repair services, and tractor trailer storage yards. On July 18th of 2022, the Board of Aldermen approved the rezoning of the property from A1 to C1 in the front here. This is what the zoning was before the entire subdivision was rezoned. When this was done, the board did express reservations about rezoning the would-be lots adjoining Highway 305 to any industrial district because of concerns regarding a potential use that would not align with the character of the area from Belforest Drive, which is by the neighborhood to the west here, and to Church Road to the north. By rezoning the M1, the board intended to establish a transitional zoning district between the proposed C1, which is the neighborhood commercial, which is the neighborhood commercial that you see here, and then this area where my cursor is here, that's zone M2. So the M1 provided, and this is a very common planning practice where you have, based on the intensity of the uses in the zoning district, you have transitional areas or transitional zones. So from a less intensive commercial area to a light industrial area to a heavy industrial area. That was the intent of why the rezoning occurred in that way. And the transitional zoning would allow for commercial uses along Highway 305 while screening any of the light industrial uses to the east. Currently, the entire area proposed for the rezoning is vacant and surrounded by vacant land and Circle H Construction, which is, they sell construction materials. We have 3 criteria to review rezonings. The first one being the original zoning classification of the property was a mistake. The applicant gets these criteria and as well and answers them. The applicant does not claim that the original zoning of the subject property was a mistake. However, they do wish to rezone Lot 1 to reflect Lot 2, which is currently zoned M1 Light Industrial. And staff reviewed this, and like I stated, on July 18th, 2022, the Board of Aldermen approved the rezoning of the property from AR to C1 in the front and M1 in the rear. And like I stated, this was done to create a transitional zoning district in this area. The second is the character of the area. The neighborhood has changed to such an extent to justify the proposed rezoning. As you can see here from the aerial maps, these are from both 2019 to the left and 2024 to the right. And I'll get into it in a second, but one of the main findings in approving the C1 rezoning of this subject property in 2022 was that the majority of the area had become commercial. I included a timeline to the right here with what has been built recently in the nearby vicinity, and that includes things like CVS Pharmacy and the BP C-Store, which are located near the Church Road intersection right here. That was constructed between 2007 and 2009. LaBelle Haven Baptist Church was constructed in 2014, and Sweet Peas Restaurant to the south of that was constructed in 2017. Additionally, the Cascades and Trinity Park PUDs also have approved commercial areas in their future development plans. And when looking at the aerial maps above, you can see that the character of the area has not changed to justify more industrial zoning. While Lot 3 of the subdivision would remain commercial, which is the lot that you see with my cursor right here, while that would remain commercial, the proposed rezoning would allow any permitted or conditional uses within the M1 zoning district to be located on Lot 1 and along Highway 305 in a predominantly commercial corridor and across from the single-family neighborhoods to the west here that my cursor is showing. This was the included site plan for the storage facility, with this out parcel right here being Lot 3. This would be Lot 1, and then Lot 2 if it were to, and if this were, the rezoning were approved, this would obviously be combined into Lot 1 on the plat revision, but this is the layout that was proposed. And it shows a 59,000 square foot indoor mini storage facility, in addition to the permitted outdoor storage that was intended to be screened behind commercial uses. So this area right here with the outdoor storage and the boat storage, that is approved in the M1 zoning district from when it was rezoned. They're allowed to do that by right. It's just if this was rezoned, they would be adding to that industrial use. And the land use intensity would increase regardless if it were a storage facility on Lot 1 or permitted or conditional use in the M1 zoning district, compared to what it can go there in a C1 zoning district, which is smaller scale neighborhood commercial uses. The third and final criteria that we evaluate is a public need for the rezoning. The applicant submits that that Olive Branch is experiencing a housing boom that is generating the need for local storage in the area, with over 3,800 commercial and single-family lots in a 2-mile radius that would benefit from the extra storage while cutting commute times to other storage facilities in the city. Staff found that the future land use map of the 2040 comprehensive plan, which designates what the public need policies for the city are, designates the neighborhood as, the parcel as neighborhood commercial, which is this pink area that you see here, which is characterized by small-scale, multi-tenant retail and offices that are located often nearby residential uses. And the intent is to emphasize human-scale architecture and pedestrian access. Mini storage is considered a light industrial use, which does not fully in line with the intended small-scale commercial nature of the neighborhood commercial designated areas within the city. And not just a mini storage, many of the uses in the M1 zoning district do not align with the intent of the neighborhood commercial designation in the future land use map. However, the existing zoning that's there, the neighborhood commercial zoning C1 district, does align with the future land use map's neighborhood commercial designation. Therefore, based on the aforementioned findings that there is no zoning classification error, the character of the area has not changed to justify industrial zoning, and the future land use map designating the area as neighborhood commercial, staff recommends that the Planning Commission deny the request to rezone the current Lot 1 of the Greenwood Place commercial subdivision from C1 to M1 based on the information that I have just given to you all to review. And that concludes my staff presentation.
Okay, any,
Oh, I'm so sorry. We also have an alternative motion to approve the request based on the finding that the rezoning of Lot 2 to the east, which is right here, introduced light industrial uses to the character of the area. I wanted to state that as well.
okay.
Thank you.
So we have a recommended motion and an alternative motion to look at. Any questions of staff?
I had a question.
Okay.
When we did this in 2018, did we not, for some reason I remember us having limitations on the entrances off of 305.
In 2018?
Or, I'm sorry, not 20, the last time we did this, when we split it up in C1 and M2, or M1 and whatnot, didn't we restrict access from 305, or did the Board of Aldermen change that?
They came back.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't
gotcha.
believe that was ever a restricting factor
Okay,
in
gotcha.
that.
Mr. Chairman, I could clarify that. When it did go to the Board of Aldermen through the plating process, it was discussed that there could possibly be a second access point for Lot 1, and that MDOT would be the permitting authority over any such access. So I think Mr. Singh's memory is correct, but that was further discussed when the rezoning item and the subdivision plat, the original one, went to the Board of Aldermen.
Okay.
And then one other question I had is, would it be possible to leave it C1 but get like a conditional use permit to allow?
It would
that?
have to be rezoned to C2, and then it's a conditional use.
Okay, gotcha.
Mr. Chairman, I think I could shed a little bit of light on that. When going back in time to when the original rezoning came in, this was a developer who had purchased the whole property and it was all zoned AR. And they wanted to proceed with a mini storage facility in the back, on the back parcel. And you could see we had surrounding M2 zoning. So we suggested to them, since they were seeking a rezoning, that it would be prudent to go to the M1 in the back and the C1 in the front. And the reason being that if you have a mini storage facility, it is a permissible use in the M1 district outright, but if you had C2 zoning, it would require a conditional use permit. So the idea was, well, why would you rezone everything to C2 at the time and then have to go through a separate process to go to a conditional use permit, you know, once you just got the property rezoned. So I think what happened is that Mr. Greenwood decided not to go forward with his facility in the back, and he's contracted to potentially sell the property to another mini storage developer, and so that's why they're seeking to rezone the front to C1, because they want to have a larger building up toward the front on the parcel that's zoned C1. So if they would have gone to C2, they could have come back and tried to rezone everything to C2 from M1 and C1, but then they would have had to in turn go back through a separate board and a separate process to get a conditional use permit. Many storage facilities are not a conditional use that's listed in our current zoning code, so they cannot apply for a conditional use permit to just do the mini storage expansion onto Lot 1 under its current zoning.
Okay. Does that answer your question? Okay, any other questions? No other questions, then we'll open the public hearing. Is there someone here to represent the application?
Good evening. I'm Chance Walker, the engineer of record representing the owner.
Donnie Hendricks, York Developments.
We can try to shed some light on what we're trying to do and the reason behind it. Like Jason said, we really had one option, and that was to attempt to rezone that front parcel to M1. You know, I think our main point here is neighborhood commercial, us not meeting that requirement. I guess one could argue that this, you know, could potentially be some sort of neighborhood commercial, being our clientele being in the residential zoning. Lot 2 being zoned M1 currently, that is where we show developing your standard mini storage, like your boat, RV, just what you're used to typically seeing. However, Lot 1 that's represented on the screen, that is where we're proposing the larger building that does help screen what is in the back. And I think Donnie can help go into more of the resources, but it is very minimal resources on the utilities. I believe it's 1 or 2 restrooms. 2 restrooms, so very, very minimal. If there was a way that we could reduce what the M1 zoning will allow us to do, we would do it, to only allow this use. You know, I think it was said a car bin or recycling facility, you know, that we're not trying to do that. If there is a way for us to scratch those out, we would do it, to allow this use. I do have some packets here, just that show, can I approach and pass these out? These just show, you know, what your typical drive-up mini storage has looked like in the past, not just Olive Branch, but anywhere in the county. And then also what we're proposing in this building that's pictured, the proposed building
Our drive-up storage will be located on the M1 section of this property. Will look a lot better than even the typical mini storage, I can assure you. The primary building that we're asking to put out front and center, we always put them out front and center, whether the zoning would require it or not. That's just our typical project, is we have a extremely nice 25-foot tall, a two-story appearance. And in some cities, they are multi-story with freight elevators, but they have a two-story appearance at the very minimum. Storefront glass, very appealing, lots of curb appeal, because we are trying to appeal to the people in the neighborhood. That's our customer. This is, take the signage off this building, you would think it was an office building, a medical building, almost anything. This is nothing compared to a mini storage. Mini storage is lots of little bitty squatty buildings, and again, this is a high eve building with the exterior veneers, and it sits and fits within all the other buildings that's usually on these corridors, and that's our intent, and we want to look as good, if not better, than everything on the street. 60,000 square feet with only 2 toilets and 2 hand sinks, and so almost no impact to the water and sewer. Average cars in and out of here today will be somewhere around 12 to 18, so very little impact to traffic in the community. We just think that this is a low impact and very has a lot of positive things for the community and the city, as it is in need, because our market studies have shown that it is in need. That's why we're here. Market rates in Olive Branch are very high on the citizens right now due to the lack of product that's out there. We bring this product, it'll lower the cost of this product to the citizens. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? I guess no more questions, then. Thank you. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak in favor or against this application? If not, then the public discussion is closed. I will now open it for any discussion among the commissioners or any motions that they wish to make.
I make a motion that we deny the request to rezone the current Lot 1 from C1 to M1 because the character of this area has not changed to justify the industrial zoning.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Remack to deny the application from M1 to C1 because the character of the subdivision of the area has not changed and met the zoning requirements.
I'll
Do we-
second that.
We have a second by Mr. Singh. Do we have any other discussion on this motion? Okay, then all those in favor of denying the application signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no.
Aye.
So it goes 5 to 1, 2, 3, 6 to 1. I can't add tonight, so 6 to deny and 1 opposed to that. So the application is denied. Now the second application is, it goes along with this, but you know, in the event that the mayor or board of aldermen overturn our recommendation and approve the application, we need to go ahead and see application number 2. And it's an application for the second revision of Greenwood Place Commercial Subdivision submitted by Chance Walker and Ben Smith, IPD LLC, on behalf of Kelly Greenwood, AK-47 LLC, property owner. The request is to combine the existing lots 1 and 2 of Greenwood Place Commercial Subdivision to create a new lot 1 of 8.71 plus or minus acres. The subject property is currently zoned C1 Neighborhood Commercial District and M1 Light Industrial, but has an associated application to rezone the C1 portion to M1. Property is located on the east side of Highway 305, just south of Church Road, known as 4900 Highway 305. And now we'll have the staff report.
Thank you again. This is, again, the same property, so here we have the aerial map again. The intent with this was that if this were to be approved by the Board of Aldermen, it would need to be replatted to reflect the rezoning. So like I stated in the other presentation, Lot 1 here and Lot 2 here on the original, or the revised subdivision plat, basically those would be combined to a new Lot 1 of 8.71 acres, while Lot 3 would remain the same size. This is the plat here. Background, like I stated earlier, this was, the original plat for this was recorded on June 13th, 2023, and was approved earlier in 2022 by the Board of Aldermen. It included just Lot 1 and Lot 2. So basically, the first, when this was originally approved, Lot 1 and Lot 3 were just Lot 1, and they were both C1, and Lot 2 was M1. The revision occurring on July 18th, 2023, and recorded on August 16th, 2023, basically split Lot 1 into two separate lots that we have today, Lot 1 and Lot 3, again, both Zone C1. A site plan to develop Lot 2 with the storage facility was administratively approved, and there have been currently grading and some utility work done on the site. That storage facility was approved after the property was rezoned. Lot 2 was rezoned to M1. Although no building permit or vertical construction has happened on that property, again, like Jason stated, that original project was scrapped and the owner is looking to sell to a new owner. The final plat analysis that we see here is that, like I stated, Lot 1 is zoned M1 Lot 1 would be zoned, if this were rezoned, would be rezoned M1 light industrial, and Lot 3 would remain C1 neighborhood commercial. Both of these lots comply with their district's bulk regulations. It's found in the zoning ordinance. However, we would ask that a revision be made to the final plat to change the name of Lot 3 to Lot 2, so that the numbering doesn't go from just Lot 1 to then Lot 3. We have a more numerical order there. In terms of transportation, there is a private access drive on LaBelle Haven Drive and from Highway 305 through an existing 80-foot wide ingress-egress easement. This easement currently serves both LaBelle Haven Baptist Church and the eastern portion of the current Lot 2 here. This easement that I'm referring to is where my cursor is right now. Notably, LaBelle Haven Drive is a private drive featuring curb and gutter on both sides. On Lot 1, a 36 wide curb cut and 30-foot wide ingress-egress easement parallel to 305. So we have that where my cursor is. It's a little hard to see. Has been established on the plat. However, MDOT approval is required for the subdivision entrance on Lot 1. The provided easement extends from Lot 1 to the northern lot line of the current Lot 3, so it ends right around here. However, Lot 3 does not have a ingress-egress easement, so therefore we are asking for a note to be put on the plat indicating that both lots would share access from Highway 305 and LaBelle Haven Drive via internal parking areas and or the internal circulation network. In terms of utilities, civil and site plans have been submitted for the current 3-lot subdivision that was approved in 2023. If approved by the Board of Aldermen, revised site and civil plans must be submitted to the city engineer to reflect any modifications that would be associated with revising the lot lines. There are no bonds associated with this final plat, as well as variances, deviations, or waivers. If recommended by the Planning Commission, and if this the Board of Aldermen were to approve the rezoning, the final plat would then be forwarded to the Board of Aldermen for their decision, and then the applicant may record the final building, may record the plat before getting a building permit. The recommendation for staff is the planning commission approve the plat with the following conditions: rename lot 3 to lot 2, and that the subdivision entrance on lot 1 would need MDOT's approval for that entrance. And that concludes my staff presentation.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of staff?
I just have a question. So this is conditional on the fact the other one gets approved by the board, so we need to write that in as a condition? If we choose to approve this, we need to write that as a condition, that the Board of Aldermen moves forward with the rezoning before we do this?
I
Otherwise-
suspect, I don't want to speak for the applicant, but I suspect, assuming that the rezoning were to be denied by the Board of Aldermen, that they would withdraw this application. So the reason that we're having it here is just in the event that Chairman Dorr said, that just in the event that the board did overturn your recommendation and approve the rezoning, then you would have already given your recommendation to just basically erase that lot line that's between the two. So
You would-
I don't know if you need to state that. We can explain that when it goes forward to the Board of Aldermen.
It would just expedite the process if they were to
Okay.
approve
Yes,
it. Okay, any other questions?
I'd like to just have that restated in the minutes so that that is on record.
Okay,
We can do that.
it will be in the minutes. It will, okay. And basically, if the Board of Aldermen, Mayor and Board of Aldermen decide to deny application number 1, then this application would be denied also. So, any other questions?
This, the replanning of this, if the Board of Aldermen denies their previous request, they can still accept this. They don't have to be contingent on,
No.
it doesn't have to be contingent on it. It's up to the applicant to determine whether or not they withdraw it if the Board of Aldermen denies it.
And they could still combine the lots technically if they wanted to.
Right.
It wouldn't be,
They're not-
although it would be mixed zoning, which would not really make any sense.
No,
But-
sir, I think it's very, very clear. If the rezoning were to be denied, that they would withdraw the application, and if they said, we're not gonna withdraw the application, the Board of Aldermen would deny it, because
Okay.
you would be setting up a situation where there'd be split parcel zoning,
Right.
so I don't think it's an issue.
Yeah.
And we'll make that, again, very clear when we give your recommendation forward, that you were only giving this recommendation in the event that the board overturned your previous one.
Okay.
If we were to deny this one, and they appealed it to the Board of Aldermen, or it went to the Board of Aldermen, could they do them both at the same time? Could the board just say, okay, we're gonna approve that one and approve this one?
If the applicant, again, if the applicant chooses to go forward with the rezoning, this would still accompany, they would want to go forward with this one as well. So, again, they kind of go together.
Yeah.
And if, it'll be made very, very clear that the planning commission was not saying deny the rezoning and approve the plat. We'll make
Okay.
that very, very clear. This would be one that if the board were to approve the rezoning, they would be approving the plat as well. So the two essentially go together, and there's really not, I don't believe there's probably much of a need for concern.
Okay. Any other questions? Everybody understand it? Okay, we'll open public discussion. Do you wish to make a comment on this? If not, then anyone here for or against this application? If not, then public discussion is closed. Now we'll open it up for discussion or motions to present.
I'll make a motion. Motion to approve the application pending the Board of Aldermen choosing to move forward with the previous application for rezoning.
Okay.
Second.
Well, we have a motion by Mr. Stratton to approve the application pending the approval of application, of item number 1 by the Mayor and Board of Aldermen, subject to the staff conditions. And we had a second by Ms. Remack. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So the motion carries, and item number 2 is approved, subject to the mayor and board of aldermen approving item number 1. Okay, our next item is an application for a zoning map amendment submitted by Darrell Brown on behalf of Streets of Hope property owner. The request is to rezone .30 plus or minus acre property from M2 heavy industrial to C2 highway commercial district for the purpose of establishing a medical cannabis dispensary at this location. This property is located on the east side of Highway 178, approximately .20 miles south of Newcraft Road, known as Lot 1, Fortune Industrial Subdivision, 7590 Highway 178. And we'll have the staff report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. To bring us up to where we are here, I want to focus our attention here on, we use Highway 78 as our reference point. This is heading north towards Memphis along with the cursor. We would exit off Newcraft Road, heading east back to Old 78, south on Old 78, approximately about a half a mile, until we come up to the actual address here, 7590 Highway 178. So where I've got the cursor at here, you can see the pointer going around. This is Lot 1 of the Fortune subdivision. Some considerations as we talk about rezoning. The bulk requirement for C2 zoning is similar to M2. The primary change would be a reduction of the side setbacks, which are 25 feet under M2 but are not required under C2. Another notable comment I would like to make is public comments. Notices were sent out to owners of property within 500 feet of the subject property as required by the City of Olive Branch zoning ordinance. At the time of this report, staff has not received any opposition or comments from the general public on this rezoning request. This property, the Fortune Industrial Subdivision, was platted in 2001. It's part of the Fortune Industrial Subdivision, which encompasses 3 developable lots. Those lots range from .30 acres to 3.46 acres. I'll just take a moment here. This is your .3. There's a middle lot here of about 1.45, and then your larger lot is on the back side of this property here. The BNSF Railway runs north and south along the back side of this property. The property is in an area that's generally commercial, light industrial in character, as evident in the aerial view map. We'll take a look at that coming up. The subject property will be served by existing utilities and will not require the extension of any new utilities or new roadway improvements. As we get to our a little closer slide here, I will point out that you'll notice there is a sidewalk in front of this property. One of the only sidewalks, if you look back down this road here, down 178, one of the only sidewalks in this area. This property was improved when it was originally platted in 2001. So the purpose of this rezoning, the applicant, Mr. Darrell Brown, on behalf of Streets of Hope, the property owner, seeks the rezoning of this subject property. The applicant suggests that the rezoning will provide an incentive for the building that's on the property. We'll take a look at that to be repaired. And according to the applicant's letter of intent, the applicant is seeking a rezoning of the property to allow the sales of medical marijuana. Okay. So for our analysis here, again, I'll take you back to where we are here. We're up 78 Newcraft Road and then back down Old 78. The first question is the original zoning classification for the property was a mistake. The applicant makes no claim that the original zoning classification of the property was a mistake. Our staff finding suggests that the original zoning classification was not a mistake. To suggest otherwise would imply that the property should have been zoned differently. The property was originally zoned for industrial development as it was annexed in 1991 into the city. This is considered appropriate because of the existing industrial and commercial developments along 178 towards the state line. It can be concluded that no zoning mistake exists. The second analysis question we have is the character of the neighborhood has changed to such an extent to justify the proposed rezoning. The applicant's submission is that the character of the neighborhood has changed from industrial to more commercial along Highway 178. However, the applicant does not suggest, did not give us any specific changes that we could point to. So our staff finding was the land use character of the area has not changed significantly in the past 2 decades. It's remained predominantly commercial along 178 and light industrial towards the state line. Development patterns in the area do support a C2 highway commercial zone, and the Comprehensive Plan 2040 recognizes these development patterns and the changing character of the neighborhood in the designated subject property, which is right here. As we will see, it's designated as a commercial corridor on the future land use map. This is the building or the sidewalk I was talking about. This is the actual building that's on the property. You can see it's improved with a curb here, and a relatively good-sized paved parking lot. So the analysis number 3 is a public need for the rezoning exists. So the applicant asserts that the proposed rezoning conforms to the comprehensive plan. The plan states that commercial land use near highway systems is deemed to be desirable due to redevelopment of the site to offer job creation, tax revenue, and provide a variety of products. Our staff finding concluded that the Comprehensive Plan 2040 stipulates that commercial corridors are developed with highway-oriented commercial uses in a linear or strip development pattern. With the property being adjacent to Highway 178, the future land use map that articulates the land use public needs of the city designates it for uses associated with the proposed C2 zoning. So our recommendation, based on our findings, is the original zoning of the property was not a mistake, that the character of the area has changed with increased highway commercial land uses along 178 where the property is located, and that the comprehensive plan designates the property as a commercial corridor. We recommend that the Planning Commission approve the rezoning of the subject property of 0.30 acres at the east side of Highway 178, approximately 0.2 miles south of New Craft, known as Lot 1, Fortune Industrial Subdivision, from M2 highway or heavy industrial district to C2 highway commercial. The alternative we would like to offer is that the requesting zoning does comply with the 2040 comprehensive plan of commercial corridor. However, criteria number 2 requires that the applicant provide evidence of either economic, zoning, physical, or social changes within the vicinity that would justify the requested rezoning. The letter we received from the applicant did not address those specifically. That can be found in Exhibit 4. And then, should the commission find the application has not provided sufficient proof, the commission may choose to continue the item for the purpose of allowing additional time for the applicant to gather supporting materials to make their case. And Mr. Commissioner, that is the extent of my presentation.
Okay. Any questions of staff?
I had a question for staff. How much commercial development have we had in the last few years between Craft Road and Camp Creek? Have we had anything new commercial pop up in that
between
Along-
Craft.
On Old 78 from Craft Road to the east over to Camp Creek.
Mhm. What I saw, again, what we have seen is we've seen this convenience store go up here on the corner of New Craft. As we come back down through Old 78, we've got a event center that's opened up. We've got the neighborhood grill has started to revamp their menu. We have the new Mexican restaurant that has really changed the face of that little area near neighborhood grill. Again, you've got your businesses that's been there, but they seem to be doing very well. Your off-road business, the painting business is there. You've got U-Haul down the road closer to Camp Creek. Various businesses up and down through there. As far as brand new ones, I would point towards the event hall, the car sales, the flooring store, the taco, again, the Mexican restaurant. And then I think you could throw Bluebird Convenience Store in there because that business has took off over the past couple of years.
Any other questions? No further questions, then we'll open the public discussion. Is the applicant here that wishes to speak?
I'd like to say good evening to you guys.
Yeah.
And again, my name is Pastor Darrell Brown, and I am new to the community. And forgive me, this is my first time appearing before you guys. I enjoy leadership, being a pastor myself, and then at the same time working with community. I am from St. Louis, Missouri. I have pretty much a food service business there. We employ probably about 100 folks or better. And I'm here to try to do the same thing, to try to bring jobs. So basically, Streets of Hope is an organization that I am currently a part of. I've written a small letter. If it's all right, I can pass it out to you guys, if it's okay, because I have on here sort of what the gentleman just talked about 18 to 20 different, whether it be restaurants or businesses, commercial. And sorry, I typed this up at the last moment because I didn't know I was going to need it. Or anything like that, so like I said, it's my first time. Thank you. So as you see, again, like I said, I'm glad to be here. I wanted to start off saying, again, my name is Pastor Darrell Brown, and I wanted to start off saying that it is an honor to come before you guys as a planning commission and board. And I believe that this is one of the fastest growing cities in all of Mississippi. And also, I don't know where you guys rank as far as the United States of America, but I do believe that you're up there as well. My organization is Streets of Hope, and we have observed a couple of things that are on 178 Highway Corridor throughout the Mississippi area. Most of what we have seen was that 178 Highway Corridors have served its communities with a mixture of industrial and commercial landscapes. We believe that 178 Highway Corridor from Camp Creek up to the state line has shown significant commercial businesses and landscapes and properties. We have noticed several churches along with multiple commercial businesses, such as I think my guy, he was talking about the paint mark contractors, distinctive carpets, off-road innovations, which is a truck and car accessories. I think there is a karate training center somewhere along the corridor as well. Mid-South, Line X truck gear. So I've got probably about 18 to 20 different businesses that are lined up in this corridor too as well, all the way down to U-Haul, to plumbing companies, to lawn service and equipment companies. And then also, I think that there's supposed to be a service station going in somewhere along Craft Road and then also 178, which is probably going to be built in a short period of time here. We further believe that if a community is going to survive and to be strengthened, it must have a multiplicity of commercial businesses in proximity. In other words, people will gravitate or migrate to areas where there are easily accessible businesses in the neighborhood. If we are granted a rezoning, then we will be able, or we will be one of the first medical facilities to come to improve the area. This will alleviate the need to go several miles outside of the community to access the medicines that could be a rock's throw from a resident's home, or even a short walking distance to access medicines. We understand that this also falls in line with the city's comprehensive plans and development to spearhead the growth of the community in the near future. Therefore, we believe also that we will be a perfect fit for helping the communities thrive economically, socially, and in good health of a service provider. Let us help you, is what we're trying to say, help you to continue your quest in becoming one of the fastest growing cities in the United States of America. And that's all I have. And I hope that you guys understand that we are here to serve you too as well. All right? Thank you.
Any questions? Anybody have any questions? No questions, then thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, I do not see anyone else in the audience to come forward in favor or against this, so we'll close the public hearing, and now I'll open it up to the commissioners for any discussions or motions.
I make a motion to table until the applicant meets the expectations. What's the second one? I'll back up a little bit. We've got 3 reasons we can change the zoning, all right? And go to the alternative motion. And basically, you've got to give us, you have to provide us proof that the area has changed. It's not that difficult, but we've got to take what you present to us. Okay? And if you can do that, we can then take a look at it. But without you telling us how it's changed, we're bound by those 3 reasons why we can change the zoning. Okay? Does that make sense? You listed all the restaurants were there, but you didn't tell us how it's changed from one time to the next. Okay? So, I understand. I understand. That's why I'd rather table it. Okay? I'd rather table it than get it denied. All right? Because you face that potential. So, as I was saying, I make a motion to table it until the applicant can provide evidence of either economic, zoning, physical, or social changes within the vicinity that would justify the requested zoning.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Jones to table it.
Second.
Subject to what he just stated. I won't restate that. And we have a second by Ms. Remack. Any other discussion on that? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. So it has been tabled until the further information is provided. So, thank you. Yes. Yeah, I would suggest you talk to Mr. Gambone or someone about what you need to put into the application. Thank you. Good vote. Okay, let's see, what do we have left? I think we need a motion to adjourn is what we need. Ms. Singer made the motion. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Jones. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And we are adjourned, so.